Okay, about to do a install. A TCI 3000. I'm gonna show you guys how to pull it off a 5.3 LS engine. I think it goes for all of them, the 4860. So we're gonna want to take these bolts off, all these. I loosened a lot of them right now. So this is gonna be a 15 millimeter. This one I believe is a 13. You're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's one on the bottom right here, 8. And you're gonna want to loosen all of those, depending on how you have it, whether it's in a vehicle or what. But it's gonna be a different process for everyone. Me, I'm gonna probably hoist it up a little bit and then put a jack under it just to help me slide it out, or I could just pull it out. But either way, some of you are gonna have to disconnect your battery. Mine's not in the engine, so I mean in the truck, so I don't have to do none of that. But you're gonna have to disconnect your battery, and then we got to take the starter off. So there's one bolt here and then another one back here. 2 bolts come off. We're gonna have to do that so we could get into the where the torque converter bolts up, and we can unbolt it. There's another plate here that comes off. See it? Just comes off. This is a plastic plate to cover, but once you take off the starter, you got a lot more room. So I'll walk you guys through it and then show you how to do it real fast. Okay, I got the engine hoist and the jack under the transmission. You want to lift up the jack, the engine hoist, so where the engine is higher than the transmission. I'm gonna unbolt the starter and then start rotating the engine so that way I can get to the torque converter bar, the screws. Both are 13 millimeter. There's one here and one back here. So, and like I said, if it's still in the motor, disconnect your negative cable, and then you're gonna have to take off your ground here and of course your power. I'll cut mine off. Okay, starter's off. Now there's this plastic cover. Comes off right here with the probably a 10 millimeter or 12. There's your torque converter screw. As soon as we take it off, we can take it off from there. Mine's a 15 millimeter. So what I did was, to keep this flywheel from turning while I try to unscrew this, I put this wrench and connected it right under a tooth, and then make sure you got a good grip on it and to where it don't move. See that? And then you grab your breaker bar, you connect it, or any type of wrench or something, depending on, it all depends on how it's installed in your vehicle, or if you have it pulled out. Mine's out. It's easy. Just break it. Hold this one tight while you turn that off, and it's the same lefty loosey, righty tighty. Spin your engine over. 24 millimeter. Goes on your crank pulley. There's another one. Same process. A lot of these come with Loctite, so they're pretty hard to get off. It's probably the blue Loctite. Okay, so breaker bar, again, your best friend. This bolt is kind of stripped out. I don't know if it was because it's been changed before, which it looks like, but well, not changed, but maybe the transmission or torque converter been changed. There's a yellow dot up there. I don't know if you see that. So I'm gonna go to parts store, go grab some Loctite while I'm at it, and change these out. But first, let me pull the transmission all the way off. So now we just take off all these bolts, and like I said before, they're all 15 millimeter, except this one. This one's like a 12 or 13. So I got them all off except this one. Still got to take this one off. So there was a bolt that was holding this in place, but you still got to take that one off. Okay, you got to remember that a lot of you are going to have yours in the vehicle, so once you take them bolts off, you need to have it ready and prepared to hold it. You're going to have to pry it off. It's not going to come right off because it still has studs holding it. See that? Although they're not bolted in or anything, it's just to hold it in place. So I need both hands, so I'm gonna have to cut you back on. Okay, so here's our old torque converter. Like I said, I think it's been changed before. Maybe not the torque converter, but transmission has been changed at one point. Here's where these 3 bolts on, and this is it right here. 1, 2, 3. Don't mix them up with these ones. 0. See? I don't know. So everything looks okay. See what happens. The way to get it off is just pretty much pulling it and wiggling it and pulling it towards your chest. Inspect the splines in there. Also right here. So what it does is it sits all the way back and it catches those very far splines, and then it catches, this one catches the closer ones. And everything looks good in here, so I'll probably clean it up a little bit. Inspect your seals. This is a seal that's important. Don't damage it. If you see it damaged, change it out, or else you're going to leak fluid everywhere. Probably make your tranny go bad also. Okay, so here's my new one. 242931. This is a TCI Automotive. TCI Automotive 3000. You want to inspect it, make sure everything's the same on this one as it is on your old one. Okay, so I almost messed up. Now, this torque converter is a lot smaller than the standard stock ones, but they still seat all the way back. Now you're gonna hit a point where it's gonna stop, and then you move it around, and it should slide in more. Now, just always think about that gasket that's right there on the back of the where the shafts are coming out, because you still have to fit in between that to seal correctly up into the torque converter. So always give it that extra push and wiggle and see if it goes in. You can see how much further in it goes in. And as a reference point, you might want to look at yours before you pull it out, the original stock ones, so that way you know that you have to meet that mark. Okay, putting it back together is a little bit harder. Just don't forget to, your guides are going to be that stud I told you about that has no screw. There's one on this side and the other on this one. I still have a gap, but it's because I haven't put none of my screws in. So as soon as I put this one in, I'm gonna go down to the other side on the bottom and put that one in, and put the one down there in. That's just so that way all of them could be pretty much even. You don't want to let your jack go down, and if you have to, you could lower the hoist, or just make the necessary adjustments. Okay, I got all my screws screwed in to mate the engine with the transmission. All of them are on there. Tying them, they don't got to be super tight, but you could give them a little. You gotta remember, everything's aluminum. You overdo it, you're gonna mess something up. Okay, now we have our torque converter in there. The thing is now that it don't line up. Now I'm cranked over with the crank pulley. I cranked over the hole to where I could reach, basically, so I could hand tight a screw. Now you just go in there and see me moving my I'm behind the flywheel. See me moving the torque converter. Now you just want to line up the holes so you can get your bolt in, and then that's pretty much it. You do one, turn it over. You'll have to crank it after that because it's not going to move freely, so you'll have to crank your pulley over here. You crank the motor till you see the next one, line it up, hand tighten that one, do the third one, same process, and then you come back and you tighten all of them. But don't forget to put Loctite on your screws. And once you do the Loctite, you're good, everything's okay. It's not 100% necessary, but I would do it. Then you just put your plate back on and you screw in your starter and you're all good. There you go. I can't show you because I gotta go get my bolts. I'm not gonna use those same ones, so it's not worth the headache later, because if I can't get one out later, it's gonna be problems. All right.